Hello everyone, this is Laura and welcome back to Become a Fluent English Speaker. Today we're going to talk about something that may completely change the way you think about learning English. There is a lie that millions of English learners believe. It's a lie that sounds reasonable. It sounds logical. It even sounds helpful, but in reality, this lie keeps people stuck for years. It prevents them from speaking confidently, expressing themselves freely, and reaching fluency. What is this lie? The lie is this: I need to be perfect before I can speak English confidently. If you've ever told yourself that you need better grammar, a bigger vocabulary, better pronunciation, or more confidence before you start speaking, then you've already heard this lie. Maybe you've even believed it. The problem is that perfection is not a requirement for communication. In fact, waiting for perfection is one of the fastest ways to delay your progress. Think about children learning their first language. Do they wait until they can speak perfectly before they start talking? Of course not. They make mistakes every day. They mispronounce words. They use incorrect grammar. They forget vocabulary. But they continue speaking. And because they continue speaking, they improve. Unfortunately, many adult learners do the opposite. They wait, they prepare, they study, they memorize, they take notes, they watch videos, and then they wait some more. They believe that one day they will suddenly feel ready, but that day rarely arrives. Here's the truth: confidence is not something you receive after becoming fluent. Confidence is something you build while becoming fluent. Every conversation adds a little confidence. Every mistake teaches a lesson. Every attempt strengthens your ability. The people who become fluent are not the people who avoid mistakes. They're the people who keep speaking despite mistakes. Another reason this lie is so dangerous is because it creates fear. When perfection becomes your goal, every mistake feels like failure. You become afraid of speaking because you're afraid of making errors. You become afraid of conversations because you're afraid of judgment. Over time, this fear becomes a habit. Instead of using English, you avoid using it. Instead of practicing, you keep preparing. But fluency doesn't grow in preparation. It grows in action. Imagine someone who wants to learn how to ride a bicycle. They read books about bicycles. They watch videos about bicycles. They study the science of balance. They learn the names of every bicycle part. But they never actually ride one. Would they become a good cyclist? Obviously not. Yet many English learners do exactly this. They spend years learning about English without truly using English. The result is frustration. They know more than they can express. They understand more than they can say. And they wonder why they're not progressing. Here's something many learners don't realize. Native speakers make mistakes too. They forget words. They mispronounce things. They correct themselves. They pause while speaking. Perfect communication doesn't exist. Effective communication does. The goal should not be perfection. The goal should be connection. If someone understands your message, communication has already succeeded. Another hidden problem with perfectionism is that it steals enjoyment from the learning process. Instead of celebrating progress, you focus on what you still can't do. Instead of appreciating improvement, you focus on imperfections. This creates frustration and discouragement. But when you focus on progress, learning becomes exciting again. You begin noticing small victories. Maybe you understood a podcast more easily. Maybe you spoke for 2 minutes without translating. Maybe you used a new phrase correctly. These moments matter. They are signs of growth. Let's talk about a different mindset. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding that mistakes are no longer your enemy. Instead, they are your teachers. Every mistake becomes feedback. Every correction becomes an opportunity. Every awkward conversation becomes practice. Suddenly, speaking English feels less scary. You stop trying to prove yourself. You start trying to improve yourself. And that's where real progress begins. One of the fastest ways to improve your English is to give yourself permission to be imperfect. Speak even when you're unsure. Share your ideas even when you can't find the perfect word. Participate in conversations even when you feel nervous. Remember, fluency is not about never making mistakes. It's about communicating despite mistakes. The learners who become fluent understand something important. Action creates confidence. Confidence does not create action. They don't wait until they are confident to speak. They speak until they become confident. That simple shift changes everything. The next time you hesitate because your English isn't perfect, remember this. Every fluent speaker you admire once struggled to form simple sentences. Every confident speaker once felt nervous. Every expert was once a beginner. The difference is that they didn't let perfection stop them. They kept going. They kept speaking. They kept learning. Use what you know. Speak with the vocabulary you already have. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Now, before we finish today's English listening podcast, I want you to answer a question in the comments. Have you ever delayed speaking English because you wanted to be perfect first? Let me know below. And if you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe to become a fluent English speaker for more English listening practice. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep growing. I'll see you in the next podcast. Keep growing.